Welcome. Today we're going to dig into a really cool idea that the way most companies are rolling out AI right now, well, it actually mirrors a huge and super costly mistake that was made over 100 years ago.
And that brings us to the big question for today. Are we literally repeating the greatest mistake of the Industrial Revolution? I mean, that's a pretty bold claim, right? To really get what's at stake here, we need to take a quick trip back in time.
So, picture this. It's the late 1800s, early 1900s. The world is run by steam power, but there's this new, revolutionary force on the scene, electricity. And this is where our story begins.
Okay, so check this out. When factories first got their hands on electricity, they did the most logical thing. They ripped out their giant, clunky steam engine and just dropped in a big electric motor in its place. But here's the crazy part. Look at the productivity. Nothing. It didn't change. And why? Because they kept the exact same old-fashioned system of belts and pulleys to run all the machines. You see, they completely missed the point. The real magic of electricity wasn't just swapping one big motor for another. It was the ability to put a small motor on every single machine. You could totally redesign the factory floor, but they didn't see that at first. They changed the power source, but they didn't change the process.
All right, now let's fast forward to today. Because believe it or not, we are making the exact same mistake with artificial intelligence. It even has a name, the bolt-on problem.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. Companies are taking these incredibly powerful new AI tools, and they're just slapping them onto their old ways of doing things. Workflows built by humans for humans. And then they're scratching their heads, wondering why they're not seeing those huge returns. So just so we're all on the same page, bolting on AI means you're just using it as an add-on. A plug-in, a slightly smarter assistant. Instead of rethinking the entire process from the ground up, with AI at the center. It is quite literally swapping the engine, but keeping all the old rusty belts and pulleys. So why is this so bad? Why doesn't just bolting on AI work? Well, it turns out there are 3 huge fundamental roadblocks that are stopping AI from really taking off.
First off, our data is a mess. For decades, we've been creating information for human eyes. Things like PDFs, Word docs, PowerPoint slides. And AI can't just read that easily. It's like trying to make your brand new electric motor run on steam. It just doesn't work.
The second problem? It's us. It's how our companies are built. We've got all these different departments, marketing, sales, finance, and they all operate in their own little silos. The work gets passed from person to person, team to team. That whole fragmented process creates bottlenecks that completely kill the speed and power AI is supposed to give us.
And finally, the third and maybe the biggest obstacle is all in our heads. It's the center of gravity. We still design everything with a person at the very center doing the main task, and we just treat AI as this little helper on the side. That is the absolute definition of just swapping the engine.
Okay, so if bolting it on is the big mistake, what's the right way to do it? Well, it requires a complete teardown and redesign. It's about building a whole new kind of factory, an approach we're calling AI native.
And look, this isn't about making a few small changes. This is a blueprint for a total revolution. You have to start by rebuilding your data so machines can actually understand and use it. Then you design your workflows so that AI agents are doing the heavy lifting from the start. And of course, that means you need new ways to manage all this, and critically, you need to make sure all your systems can talk to each other without a human in the middle.
This chart really lays it all out side by side. On the left, you've got the old way. Data is made for humans in things like PDFs. The workflow has a human right in the middle, and that means the human becomes the slow, clunky middleware connecting different systems. But look at the AI native way. Data is built for machines. The workflow is agent first, and the human role? It shifts to being in the loop, overseeing, auditing, handling the tricky exceptions. That's the real factory of the future.
So when you really get down to it, it all boils down to one massive strategic choice. Are you just buying a new engine, or are you ready to build an entirely new factory?
Because here's the bottom line. We have to stop thinking of AI as just the next app we need to install. It isn't just a new tool. It's a completely new way to build a company from the ground up.
And that brings us right back to where we started.
The lesson from the age of electricity is a huge warning sign for us today in the age of AI. If you just bolt this incredible new technology onto your old, broken system,
don't be shocked when you're still stuck running at the same old speed.
So I'll leave you with this. When it comes to how you're thinking about AI, are you truly redesigning the process for a new world, or are you just swapping out the motor? The answer to that question might just define your future.